baseball today. It is a Sunday here, Selection Sunday, but also we selecting basketball teams or teams going into Major League Baseball's March 25th, or we selecting teams that will be in the supposed Final Four here for Baseball Madness. I love this time of year. It's Craig Mish, it's Donnie Rightside. We are ready to roll, Craig. I'm feeling good, and the stakes are just getting hotter and hotter out there.
Yeah, Donnie, great to be with you here on this Sunday. And we're headed toward the regular season of Major League Baseball, less than 2 weeks away. Yep. World Baseball Classic coming to an end. And man, what a tournament it has been thus far.
Yeah, we got some good matchups coming up. We'll get to all those and much more. But the focus we're going to start about right away, Craig, is Team USA. A little bit interesting through this. Now, looking at this from, let's just say, the world lens of it here. Hey, every country's having so much fun. Team USA more business-like. Team USA's manager, hey, we're 3-0. We already punched our ticket into the next round. Guys, go out, blow off some steam that night. Oh, no, we got a game against Italy the next day, which we'll get to in just a few moments. How are we feeling, Craig? Vibe check on Team USA compared to everybody else. And also, are the criticisms even fair at this point?
Yeah, I mean, look, a little bit, Donnie, of it, I think, is overblown. And by the way, I think it's actually less business for Team USA. It seems like the other teams' emotions have really carried them throughout this, especially when you see how Dominican Republic and Team Venezuela have fared thus far. Look, I don't think it's something to be overly concerned with, but I think it's been very obvious even before that the United States came up short against Italy that they just simply aren't as good, I think, as the other two teams. Two of those teams, Venezuela and Dominican Republic, I was surprised how big of a favorite they were against Canada. And certainly it's very different from a sports betting perspective when you're seeing -4.5 runs, -7.5 runs. It's not something that normally people see, that they have those betting options during the regular season of Major League Baseball. But Team USA has not covered any of those like football lines, so to speak. And the fortunate part for them going into Sunday night is they have arguably the best pitcher or the second best pitcher in baseball in Paul Skeens. So that certainly could be the equalizer. But as of right now, I think the odds makers are a little short on how they feel about Team USA. I definitely think the Dominican Republic is alive tonight, and I think Venezuela definitely live against Italy. And it just seems to me that probably Team USA has a chance to win it all, but I definitely do not think that they are the favorite right now, Donnie. I mean, I know the odds tell us that, but I don't think so.
I'll tell you the interesting point about this too, Craig, because if we flip it over, as you mentioned, like Paul Skeens has been spectacular, just as we anticipated. But the allure of Team USA heading in was once you got to the knockout stages, how are you going to deal with Skeens and also Tarek Skubal, who Skubal technically would have been in line to start the final if USA makes it there. But as we know, Skubal goes back to Detroit, throws 61 pitches. I'm going to ask you this question, Craig, because it comes up a lot. Like, I could see if Skubal left and was like, I'm not pitching until opening day, which we know is not going to happen. You ramp up in spring training. But seeing Skeens out here pitching on the mound and then knowing Skubal went back to the Grapefruit League and threw 61 pitches as opposed to doing that here in the WBC, did you have any issue with that or just the perception of what's going on?
Yeah, I personally did not because, again, it's very hard for me to put myself in someone's shoes that's 8 months away from breaking the all-time record for the highest contract in a pitcher in Major League Baseball. And listen, you can like Scott Boras, Donnie, or not like him. It really doesn't make a difference. There's no question that he sat down with Skubal and said, hey, look, I'm not going to stop you from doing anything you want. That's what you do for the client. But the client, in the end, had to look at this and say, hey, is there some inherent risk? We saw what happened with Suzuki. He got hurt in this. We saw Kyle Teal, the catcher. He got hurt in this too. And then, to some degree, others as well. But Donnie, my overall takeaway for people on that would be as follows. Does anybody remember the last World Baseball Classic or the one before that where we had to beg to get anybody to even participate in this thing? I don't know. It seems to me, as far as that is concerned, Team USA should have, on paper, enough pitching to get through this. I mean, Venezuela asked Jesus Luzardo to come pitch in the semis. He's not going to do it either. So I personally don't have an indictment on it. The problem is that Skubal, after his last start of the WBC, was asked about it, and I don't think that he was fully prepared to answer the question, but that was predetermined even going in.
Yeah, and it was a struggle, I should say, back and forth, sort of that tug of war, because I knew when Skeens got there and pitched, he was going to want to stick around and probably pitch again. But you're right about this. You can't pocket watch. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go back to my, $35,000 a year job. There are hundreds of millions of dollars on the line. And also, we don't know what the contract negotiations, even the insurance turns out to be, Craig, where if you get hurt in the WBC versus getting hurt in the Grapefruit League, what that means for the future. So Team USA will go on. Paul Skeens will start tonight. We'll get into that game and much more. But let's take a look, Craig, how USA actually got here. Through those 4 games in the pool stage, Brazil 15-5, easy victory there. Great Britain 9-1, easy victory. You beat Mexico 5-3. Then came the, I thought we're already in, let's play Italy. But also, it's not as if Craig's like, wow, like Italy's on the same plane as Brazil. Italy is playing fantastic baseball here, and they end up upending Team USA, which sent a shockwave, which meant we didn't even know if USA was going to move forward into the knockout stages after that game, Craig.
Yeah, I was very surprised. I mean, that is the surprise thus far of the WBC, is seeing Italy in the semifinals of the World Baseball Classic. But, credit to them. And, before this, Donnie, I look, obviously didn't have Italy going this far, but I did anticipate a big upset. I mean, it is a tournament in the end, and we're going to see that coming up in March in the NCAA tournament, starting as soon as next week. I just think that Italy got hot at the right time. Their pitching came through. And then, naturally the leadership of that team, especially with Vinny Pasquantino, has really carried them. But as far as USA is concerned, I mean, you probably could look at all 4 games that they played. And I don't know what the lines were on some of these teams that they played, like Brazil or Great Britain. But I'm guessing the run line was 8.5, 9, even 10. I'm not even sure that they went 1-3 in the pools as far as covering. And I know that they didn't against Canada as well. So the line against the Dominican Republic will be a lot closer, obviously, because the DR is playing great baseball. But you can't look at Team USA and say that they have overwhelmed any team thus far.
And also, like Team USA, down a couple starters in that game, even if they weren't paying attention, you still should have beaten Italy, which, again, no knock on Italy. They've been playing great baseball. But the fact that, okay, Harper wasn't in there, a couple other guys, still should have won that game, and they didn't. But now we take a look at Canada on the opposite side, who the U.S. went up against on Friday night, how they got here. Beating Colombia, close loss to Panama 4-3, beating Puerto Rico and Cuba. Canada with a really good appearance here in the World Baseball Classic through that pool stage, Craig.
Yeah, and by the way, going back to that Team USA, it's a good point that you bring up, Donnie, but let me just expand on that point with some of the backup players on Team USA's roster playing. In order to play in the World Baseball Classic and for the teams to allow their players to play, there has to be a certain amount of playing time that they are required to get in order to participate. So this was not about benching Bryce Harper or playing Paul Goldschmidt or anything like that. The Yankees, I mean, I don't have the information in front of me, and I wasn't on the phone call, but the Yankees told Team USA Paul Goldschmidt has to get 2 at-bats in 2 weeks. Like, you can't have him not play, or else he's not going to play for you. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's why those guys played, and that's why that's been going on throughout the World Baseball Classic, is you're seeing some backups play in the end, pinch hitting and things like that. So as far as Canada is concerned, really good run for them, and they qualify, of course, for the Olympics. And next time's World Baseball Classic, I thought they had a really good run to Owen Casey, young player who's now on the Marlins, who came over from the Cubs in the offseason. I thought he did a really good job for them. Canada just came up just short against Team USA. By the way, if they played another game against Team USA, they may beat Team USA. I mean, USA had basically 1 inning where they exploded, and that was it. So credit to Canada as well.
Yeah, a couple interesting points that you bring up, which I love, too. It's like, okay, you're going to the bench. It's not like you're, 10 years old where you got to put Jimmy in left field where he can't catch a fly ball. Like, you're going to guys like Paul Goldschmidt, like MVP caliber players, like, to put in the game. It's not that bad of an option here, but also looking at as it plays through. I thought Canada was really good, and Team USA just got the better of them. That key error, which allowed 2 runs to score, which had the U.S. take that 3-0 lead, but also maybe a little bit of optimism, I guess, for Team USA getting good starting pitching. But that bullpen, Craig, needs to get a little bit better here for the U.S., no?
They've added a couple of arms here for Sunday night's game, and then for a potential championship game if they get there. So we'll see how it plays out. But, yeah, I mean, every team is looking for help right now as they advance.
Big action on the way. And by the way, we got you covered on everything you need to know in pro baseball today right here on a Sunday, which includes down goes the previous champion. My goodness, Shohei Ohtani is out. We'll get to that much more coming up next.
Everybody has to develop, you know that. Think about Joe Burrow, okay? The beginning of his senior year, he was projected a 6th round draft pick. okay? And that's after playing a year at LSU. So Arch still has some developing to do, but he does have the potential to be a great player.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
This is not a probability market. This is an information narrative market, which, by the way, there are already people who know the answer to this question. So
yes.
You are not, you're not battling getting the right price. This is not math. This is who the hell knows where Taylor Swift might get.
Yeah.
You know who knows? Taylor Swift's people.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
I love these tournaments. I love the Olympics. I love NFL drafts. I love events. I love the UFL, arena football.
Yeah.
Dude, the sports books don't have algorithm computers for this, Kevin. They don't freaking know. How the hell is a sports book supposed to set a number for this? They didn't.
Yeah.
Dude, the FanDuel had USA at -5.5.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
I really wish I could pull out my crystal ball and predict accurately the future and put money on it and see if I could win. But I think the answer of where we're heading is more uncertainty, and in the short term, more companies, like you mentioned, trying to capitalize on that. When prediction markets first kind of took off this past year, there was a little bit of a hesitancy from sports books.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Pro Baseball today, having fun on a Sunday. Donnie Rightside, along with my buddy Craig Mitch here, talking World Baseball Classic here. And we expected teams to be great. Team USA, we expect Japan to be great, the Dominican Republic, let's call Puerto Rico and Venezuela. But one of the teams that maybe was overlooked coming into it was Team Italy, Craig. And on Wednesday, and we'll go back a couple days, they complete a perfect pool play at 4-0 after topping off Mexico 9-1 here. Did we see this coming? Aaron Nola, the new Paisan there delivering. You got espresso in the dugout, Craig. This vibe is immaculate here for Italy.
Yeah, Italy, has been the surprise without a doubt of the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
Did anybody see this coming? No, of course not. But that's what makes it fun. It's the same thing, again, as I mentioned, that will happen in the NCAA tournament. There'll be some teams advancing to the Sweet 16, maybe even the Final Four that you don't expect. But look, their pitching, as you said, has been very timely. They do have 2, 3, 4 major league hitters on that team that have been able to come through. And then obviously capping off their great week with that win against Puerto Rico on Saturday puts them in the semifinals on Monday in Miami. So yeah, great run for Italy, and maybe a team to keep an eye on the next time the World Baseball Classic comes. I think the one thing that the takeaway is, and I've been to all the World Baseball Classics now going on, I think it's almost 20 years here, is that, Donnie, the players now, seeing what's going on, more and more want to participate. This is the most
Yes.
Major League Baseball players we've ever had, and the most pitchers that we've ever had participate in the WBC. And so, that dynamic is a great part of it that has changed for the better.
And I think it's sensational, too, in the way, Craig, where sometimes, we love Major League Baseball as a regular season. We love the playoffs, but also understand this. You do get upsets in the playoffs early on with the 3-game series turning into 5 and then 7. But understand the World Baseball Classic. So much would change if it was a 3 or 5-game series once you got into the knockout stages. It's not. You're bringing your best in one game. If your pitcher has it or doesn't, you're going to be sent home at this point. So let's get to the Dominican team. And you want to talk about fun? You want to talk about pomp, circumstances, celebration, bravado? They have it all on the field and their fans in the stands, Craig. Look at their 4 games here. Nicaragua, 12-3. Netherlands, 12-1. Israel, 10-1. A battle with Venezuela, 7-5. The bats are fun. The team is fun. And this is going to be an unbelievable game on Sunday night, Craig. But the Dominican superstars up and down their lineup.
Yeah, the hitting is obviously out of control. If they get to a championship scenario, I would assume that they could even have the best pitcher in the championship game if Sandy Alcantara ends up pitching that one on Tuesday night. But yes, Donnie, I'm certainly excited to go to the game. I'll be going tonight to see this game between Team USA and the Dominican Republic. So I'm excited for it. I've seen them play in all the games that they've played. And look, that game against Venezuela, I know it was a close one in the end, 7-5, but you never got the sense that the DR wasn't going to win. So they've been the most dominant team in the World Baseball Classic. And if their bats stay alive, then who knows? Maybe they could end up winning the whole thing, because I do think that, I think most people think that the winner of Sunday night's game between USA and Dominican wins the whole thing.
Because to Team USA, Craig, and I thought you brought up a great point here. In the past, like, yeah, sure, I'll go now. But now you're seeing players actively, and this is why we got so excited about this World Baseball Classic. The true superstars, like, I got to get there, I got to play in this, I have to experience it. And now we're going to get that. But in other countries like the Dominican, no fault, no shame here. And I think it's the correct move. Asking them questions about how do you feel about winning the WBC as opposed to the World Series. It means so much to these small island countries here and the pride that they have that this really is their World Series. Of course, they want to go back to Seattle and their teams and win World Series, but I just love the passion. Like, we're here, we're brothers, and this feels like the greatest 2 weeks of our lives here. And the Dominicans feed off that. And understand this. You watch games in Houston, Craig, where the crowd's very good for the U.S. Yes, they are, but just on a different level in Miami with the spectator support along with the team providing it on the field. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and I went also last Sunday night to Israel versus Nicaragua, and I got to tell you, I mean, both teams, Israel and Nicaragua, very well represented. Nicaragua, it seemed like, had maybe 70-80% of the crowd in that game too. So, you're absolutely right. I think that what's going on now, Donnie, is that there is this narrative that why can't we turn what we've seen over the last week into Major League Baseball? And it's like, I don't understand why people want to do anything that's just simply not going to get done. Like, we can't just be happy with what we're seeing. Like, an NBA player scores 83 points, can't be happy with that either. No one wants to be happy with anything going on. The reason why is because they're playing for their country. It's just a different way to play. It's very similar to soccer and the World Cup too. Why can't we just be happy with what we're seeing these days, Donnie? It feels like it.
You're right. And also, like, coming off, let's just say, the Olympics and hockey, like, oh, I can never get that excitement in the NHL. It's the best players at every position playing each other here. It's the same thing in the WBC. Like, of course, there's 30-plus teams in Major League Baseball where you can't get a night-to-night where Skeens is going toe-to-toe with your best and everybody's an all-star up and down the lineup, and we're okay with that. But if we keep it here, lining up for that game tonight again, Korea did have a pretty good group stage. 2-2 here, advanced Czechia, beat 11-4, lost to Japan, lost to Taiwan, beat Australia 7-2. And then, Craig, you saw the Dominican. And the story, Uncle, after 7 innings, Craig, 10-0 victory, only allowed 2 hits, man. You want to talk about mercy rule heading into the knockout stages and doing damage. Boy, did they do that.
Yeah, and poor Hyun-Jin Ryu, who hadn't pitched in Major League Baseball in a long time, pitched in the game. They got 10-run ruled, and then yesterday morning says, I'm retiring. That's not, I mean, unfortunately, that's the worst way you got to go out. But look, credit to Korea. Honestly, Donnie, you win a couple of games in the WBC, it qualifies you for the next one, gets you into the Olympics. I mean, those are the things that they're looking for. I don't think anybody expected Korea to win it all.
No, certainly didn't. But the Dominican team, it's fun because, they didn't really have that so much as the U.S. team lost to Italy. Oh, no, we got to recenter ourselves, and now it's out of our hands. We're going to move on. Now we feel lucky, maybe re-energized. The Dominicans are putting on a show, style. All those points are adding up, and it's not just easy victories that they're getting. They're absolutely clubbing teams like they did 10-0 here. Let me ask you this question, Craig. We get this sometimes, and hey, don't want to go through the regular season undefeated. You want that adversity and take a loss, which I always think is nonsense here. But was it a good thing that the U.S. was like, oh, no, it's out of our hands. I hope we can get through the next stage and get reinvigorated. Do you think that matters at all?
I still do not see that with Team USA. I mean, obviously being, American, this is the team that I want to win, but I just, it's not about fire or an intensity or lack of intensity or anything else. They just have not looked right from the very beginning. The good news for them is they got the best pitcher going, but it's going to come out of the game eventually, So, look, Team USA still the most talented team. But I personally think it's just who they are and the way that they're playing.
We're going to hit on that big-time semifinal game on Sunday night. It's Craig and Donnie right here on a Sunday. We got you covered. WBC and much more. Pro Baseball Today, Craig Mish, Donnie, Rightside right here, getting you the information that you need. And also, heavy here in our number one WBC talk. We'll get to some Major League Baseball talk. And understand this too, Craig. March 25th, not too far away, opening night in Major League Baseball. How about that?
Netflix game for the first time ever, a baseball game live streaming to open up the season between the Yankees and Giants. Yeah, you're right, Donnie. I mean, once this WBC is over Tuesday, it's now the sprint to the beginning of the regular season.
Can't wait for it here. Just give me good weather. Don't have any rainouts and snowouts here in the Northeast to start the month of April here. Let's get that good weather in and have some fun. Bring that hitting weather sooner than later. Let's talk about some other teams here in the WBC as we round it out. Puerto Rico, stage results here, Craig. 3-1 overall. Knocked off Colombia 5-0. Panama 4-3. Cuba 4-1 before taking a loss to Canada here in a 3-2 game. Puerto Rico did show out. We'll get to some of those results in the knockout stage, but their group stage, Craig, pretty good.
Yeah, and this was a team, obviously, that was not playing at full strength, missing Altuve and Correa, Lindor, and some others. I think that you got to give them a lot of credit for the way that they played. Unfortunately, they just ran into the hot team in Italy. But as you mentioned, in the pool stage, winning 3 out of 4, nothing to complain about. Thought Yadier Molina did a great job as manager. I would assume that he'll be back for the next one. And I would guess that Puerto Rico, when we see them next time around in 4 years, will be at probably better strength. I think the only question is that people are bringing up, Donnie, this time is that, yes, they did not have those players that I mentioned. Not Altuve. Why did I mention Altuve? He's from Venezuela. Correa, Correa, and Lindor. The one thing it's funny is everyone seems to forget that in 4 years from now, how old are these guys, right? Like it could be a new crop of young players that are playing in this. But credit to Puerto Rico for getting this far.
Yeah, great fan base as well. Let's take a look at Italy, because I'm just so surprised by this, Craig. You know, the talk of all season long, hey, will Miami of Ohio get into the tournament since they were undefeated? And you say to yourself, well, they didn't play that good of a schedule here. You can't say that for Italy, Craig. It wasn't like they played, the Netherlands 4 straight games or Great Britain 4 straight games. Yes, they beat Brazil and Great Britain, but they also beat Team USA and Mexico and handled Mexico handily 9-1. That's the fascinating part. The expectations not ultimately high. And it's like, oh, wait till they play a real team. No, they played 2 really good teams and beat them both, Craig.
Yeah, my buddy Jazz said Great Britain was going to shock the world. I think he should have played for Italy then, because that's the team that he shocked. And Mexico was no slouch there either. So, yeah, look, you're absolutely right. And, the thing that comes out of this also, I mentioned Yadier Molina, who was a slam dunk choice, obviously, for Team Puerto Rico anywhere. But let's also throw some love here to Francisco Cervelli, who has done an excellent job here for Team Italy as the manager there. And what happens is, we talk about Mark DeRosa for Team USA, and I think regardless of, and I love D-Row as a person, and I think he was a great player. He has a lot of fun on TV, but I think it's probably a foregone conclusion we're not going to see him the next time the World Baseball Classic comes in 4 years. I mean, you can stamp Francisco Cervelli's name on Italy no matter what happens moving forward. So as you said, yes, correct. They definitely came together as a team. I know it's cliche, but they're saying that over and over again. So I got to buy it every once in a while. I'll buy it this time. Great job by Team Italy, obviously.
Yeah, notice we're buying too, getting into the knockout stage in the quarterfinal. Italy, an 8-6 victory over Puerto Rico. So the winning just keeps continuing. And the one thing that's funny, Craig, if you just look at the highlights, you think that, Vinny Pasquantino's hitting 800 throwing the WBC. His power stroke is there, but only hitting 211. But this team just continuously comes up with big hit after big hit. And also, they had an 8-2 lead against Puerto Rico. The 4 runs in the top of the 8th by Puerto Rico sort of put the gas pedal back on there, and they were still able to hold up. This team is winning at all costs, and quite frankly, they're a fun team to watch right now.
Yeah, and look, we'll see what happens moving forward with this. But again, when you get players, I think honestly, Donnie, 4 years ago, you wouldn't have got the same talent of players on a lot of these teams, Italy included. And so they just simply would have stayed with their major league teams. And a lot of these guys too, Donnie, you have to remember this, younger, playing for a roster spot. So what did that equate to 4 years ago? It equated to, why would I go play in the WBC, leave my team? How are they going to feel about me when I come back? Am I going to lose playing time? Is someone going to play better than me? Credit to them for getting a lot of these guys to participate and play. I can't wait to see what happens with them on Monday night too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. And again, just some of these things, again, you in the locker room there, you got the coffee machine in the dugout, just buying into everything. And understand this too. Oh, well, a lot of these guys are actually Americans playing it's a WBC. You have to spread things out where it's not just two teams overpower everybody. So what's the point? I love the fact that guys with any lineage to Italy were able to play, and they're certainly putting on a show right now. We'll see if they can advance into the final, maybe a rematch with Team USA. But I got to tell you, Craig, there is a big game on Sunday Night Baseball. All eyes. I cannot wait to see the ratings, and I hope it provides fun. It's USA. It's the Dominicans. We're going to talk about that next, right here on Pro Baseball Today. Well, still, even though he gave up that home run, Tom, you know the number's going to be there. If he stays healthy, who's touching that guy?
Well, you mentioned him. The only player I've interest in betting on for the AL Cy Young this year would be Brian Wu. And it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of the odds. It's a combination of his underlying skill set, where I believe he's trending in terms of his career.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
On the Thunder side, while they haven't had their stars totally for the entire regular season, they're still 3-4 games ahead of where the Spurs are, and that says a lot. Without SGA, without J-Dub, who's missed a large chunk of the year, Chet missed some time, for them to be still good enough to keep winning and stacking these wins, it means something, and it's actually building confidence for those others.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Put Zach Branch on the Buffalo Bills on the football field at the same time with Cook and these wide receivers, and you have Branch set up in a slot in motion and stuff, and you put that speed. I want a game difference maker. DJ Moore's not a difference maker, right? He helps, he's good, right? But it's not that game changer. But to me, Kevin, they need game changers on the defensive side of the football.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Drama is what we love on Pro Baseball Today, and we are getting it tonight. USA, Dominican Republic. It's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern for all the world to see. And also, Craig will be there live in the Madhouse tonight. Now, Craig, I want to ask you this question. We leaving early tonight? Because I know you go to a lot of Marlins baseball games. Little different atmosphere tonight in this one, no?
What'd you say? Am I leaving early? Or going? Are you leaving early at the end, or leaving early to get there? I still can't figure out what I'm going to do.
Traffic home.
Yeah, so the good news is I kind of have this mapped out a little bit. So this is definitely going to be one of those games that I'm going to get to earlier. Well, you know what? I take it back because I'm on the broadcast, so I have to get there at 3 or 4 o'clock during the regular season games. But for our game that's going to be throwing out the first pitch at 8. I don't think I'm going to get there any later than 6:30 or 7 tonight, just knowing the dynamic of this game. So it'll be me and my son just hanging out in the garage, just waiting for the game, because I am not going to lose a parking spot tonight. As far as leaving the game early tonight, now, I will say, I know like people are afraid to admit this, Donnie. I am and I've talked about this, notorious leaver early guy. Like I am that guy, okay? If the game is close, I'm not going to take that moment. I would leave no matter what, but I would not take that away from my son if the game is close. 1 run, 2 runs, 3 runs, 4 or 5 runs going into the last, Donnie. I don't know. That's a tough one. I may walk out. Now the championship, I think I'm stuck to the end on Tuesday night, but I don't know if that answered your question. In all likelihood, if it's a close game, I'll stick it out. But Should be a fun game. I definitely don't understand the odds. I know we're going to review them here. USA minus 130. I don't get this one at all. I think this is an absolute coin flip. If they made the DR a little bit of a favorite, I wouldn't be surprised either. But to me, minus 130, it was higher, minus 150, 140 when they first clinched and they came out. But to me, this is a minus 115 both sides. That's the way I view it.
How they got there, Craig, right? You take a look at Team USA here. Beat Brazil 15-5. You beat Great Britain 9-1, Mexico 5-3, then Italy 8-6, which was the loss, which again put their season in peril. Should have said the WBC in peril. Come back with a nice victory over Canada at 5-3. For the Dominican side of things, Craig, they swept all the way through. They have no losses here. Nicaragua 12-3, Netherlands 12-1, Israel 10-1, Venezuela 7-5, and then pounded Korea in the knockout stage 10-0 here. So both of these teams coming in, one undefeated, one not. I don't think that all makes the difference because it's a one-game playoff. Winner's going to advance, not a round robin where you got to beat the other team twice now because one team already has lost. That's not the case. So that brings us, Craig, to starting pitchers tonight. None better than Paul Skeens. He is in mid-season Cy Young form right now, going up against Luis Severino. Let's talk about the two pitchers here to start here, Craig. Skeens, this is the guy you wanted with the ball against maybe the best team left in this tournament.
Yeah, and look, that's where the Team USA has the major advantage here because you would assume on paper that Team US would have their way with Luis Severino. And by the way, if the DR had to pull him, I know that their bullpen has done a good job, but who would be left for 6-7 innings? And that's the significant advantage in this one. And from a live perspective, I think if USA goes up, it is trouble. It is trouble at that point for the Dominican Republic. But I've heard some comparisons. To Team USA in the Olympics, the basketball team, where through the years they get a scare, they play a few games that aren't really what they're supposed. They don't look like a dream team, so to speak. But I remember the dream team of Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird. Those teams just dominated and just blew through teams. It was the teams after that played close. I don't know. I just don't see it in this Team USA squad. Like, I could easily see them winning today and easily see them winning Tuesday. But to say that there's been an indicator of them sort of, just turning it up and then sleepwalking and then all of a sudden turning it up, maybe that's what will happen tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, it's good.
But I certainly can't indicate that I see something that's going to make that happen. Can you, Donnie?
No, I'm with you on that. And look, let's be truthful here coming into this. Like when we saw the odds coming out for this tournament at the start, of course, Team USA was always going to be favored, but I wanted to take the plus money odds behind them, whether or not it was going to be Japan or the Dominican Republic as opposed to the United States. Because understanding this, it's not Game 7 of the World Series where Skeen's going to take the baseball tonight. Craig, you need me for 9 innings. I'll go all 9 innings, 112 pitches to get this done. And also understand that's a one-game knockout at this point. So for me, I thought the plus money made some sense. And again, you're talking to look tonight, depending where you're shopping at, the 135s, the 130s, the minus 128s here on the U.S. as the favorite. But also, Craig, that total is interesting to me, listed at 8.5. It seems like every all hand on deck from what you need from a bullpen side to your starting pitcher is going to be there. Outside of, again, Skeen's throwing 95 pitches tonight, which he's probably not going to do, and rightfully so. But if we look at that total, it's sort of a playoff maybe feeling to this, Craig, or do you say, wait a second, Donnie, have you been saying what the Dominicans are doing at the plate? But again, you got to do it against Paul Skeens.
First 5 would be my guess to go under that total. But I really don't know what kind of bullpen talent you're going to get. They brought in Rogers, Team USA did. I mean, he hasn't been with the team, and I know that the Dominican Republic will throw their very best out there, but I could see a very low-scoring game for the first few innings, and then I just don't know what to expect toward the back end of that game. But as you said, the odds came out initially, and I saw Team USA minus 150. I thought by the time we were on the air Sunday, this is not going to be minus 150 as anybody watching these games, but look, it does. I went to when Team USA beat Venezuela and Trey Turner hit the grand slam. It was one of the big moments in that park, too. Maybe we got a big moment in store tonight, late. Maybe so, because there's been big moments throughout the WBC thus far.
Certainly has been, as Craig alluded there to the first 5 innings. Craig, those totals today, 4.5 runs. So 5 in the first inning, you win that. Under the 4.5, obviously 3-1 game, you'll cap that too. I'm agreeing with you here. I don't know if we get a ton of scoring early on. It's going to be a lot of jitters here. But again, good starting pitching here. And it's not as if Team USA has come out absolutely crushing it out of the barn here, as opposed to those first couple games with like Brazil or maybe Great Britain at this point, which took them later to score runs, tacking on the 8th and the 9th innings here. Should be a fun one to watch. But if you are looking at the starting pitching, it should be advantage Paul Skeens, which then brings us up to our next topic. Like, if U.S. gets out to a lead, Skeens will pitch with that. Let's just say he goes 5 innings. You hand it over to the bullpen. But it could be panic early. Like, we've seen it before, Craig. Hey, Skeens, you can touch it. Hey, walk in the first inning. Oh, bad pitch over the middle plate. It's 2-0. And then that crowd, Craig, starts to get into it. And let me ask you this, too. You'll be in the building tonight. It's got to be louder for the Dominicans, even though it's in Miami, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not even going to be close. It's not even going to be close. I think this game will have the most opposition for any of the Latin teams that's played. Like, I think that there will be 20-30% of the people there tonight that are rooting for Team USA. But this is the World Series, the Super Bowl, the Stanley Cup for the Dominican Republic. Let's also remember, Donnie, that the DR has fallen short in this World Baseball Classic the last couple of times. So this is as far as they have gone. I would expect them to get a lot of support tonight, and we'll see if that carries that emotion into their dugouts. It certainly seems it has, both in Miami and in Houston thus far.
I mean, it feels like an all-star game, too. You just take a look at, player that might be able to hit a home run tonight. It's like, whoa, look at all of these starters in the lineup. Like, Aaron Judge is always going to be the favorite at a plus 200 price. Yeah. Kyle Schwarber right behind him at a plus 240. Cal Raleigh plus 260. And then finally, Dominican there listed with Juan Soto at plus 290. Any chances here? Like, is it big moment games? Bryce Harper hit one fly ball to center field here in Houston, but outside of that, not a lot of power. Judge, is swinging from his heels. So is Schwarber. If you had to pick one guy tonight, Craig, who's going to be that hero from either team? Who would it be tonight? Like, who would you ride with a home run tonight with?
I mean, look, I don't know the Dominican's going to win, but I mean, look, Tatis has had a lot of success playing in this park, so that would be the one guy that I've seen play up close and personal in Miami through the years that I would expect to have a big game. Now, whether or not he hits a home run, that's really tough to predict, but he's done well in South Florida, and he's a big part of what they're doing. So that would be my pick to click tonight.
There you go. Fernando Tatis listed at a plus 480 price to go yard here. And we're not even in the WBC final. The energy is going to be absolutely electric tonight. Craig said he's going to be in the building. So much more to go over, but also there was a major upset from a team that won the WBC last time out who is no longer playing for the championship for the WBC. We'll continue that and much more next right here on Pro Baseball Today. Semi-final action. Been enjoying it here because coming up tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, it's going to be the U.S. versus the Dominican Republic. Going to be fantastic to watch it play out. But also, Craig, it's going to be another game on Monday night that's going to decide who's going to play the winner of tonight's game in the World Baseball Championship Final. Let's take a look here first at Japan. Rolling through the pool stage here, Greg. Taiwan 13-0. Korea 8-6. Australia 4-3. And that game got close late with a couple home runs for Australia in the ninth inning. But still, Korea was able to win. Czechia there, 9-0. Easily got through that group stage here before we get to that Venezuela game. Always on top, superstars, the biggest of them all, Shohei Ohtani, who's having a fantastic WBC here, and they blew right through their group stage.
Yeah, they did. And in the group stage, it wasn't particularly close. I did think that Japan had a great shot to win it all after watching them play there. But you mentioned Ohtani. I thought he did a really good job. I think that you have to hope that Seiya Suzuki is okay. He was another big performer for them and will be and was supposed to be in the opening day lineup for the Cubs. Hopefully nothing serious with him. Got to keep a close eye on these guys again because of the injury perspective here. But Japan just rolled everybody and then unfortunately just came up short against the team that we'll talk about next in Venezuela. But what an opening to that game. Last night, by the way, where Acuna opened up to homer the game and then Ohtani homered as well. It was great.
It was fantastic stuff. In Venezuela, how they got here as well, Craig, 3-1 through their pool stage here, beat the Netherlands 6-2, Israel 11-3, Nicaragua 4-0, and then lost to the Dominican Republic in a fun game 7-5 as it set the stage there. We expected Venezuela to be a player in this tournament, Craig, and certainly doing the job.
Yeah, great lineup and very timely hitting, as you could see. They lost the Dominican Republic, but they beat a Nicaragua team that was hot at the time 4-0, beat the Netherlands, and they took care of Israel early. The question for Venezuela as they move forward, maybe more so than Dominican Republic and even for Team USA, is who is left to pitch, Donnie, on those teams. They're really thin now after seeing the result of Ranger Suarez pitch against Japan. So I don't know. It seems to me like if you're asking for a guy that's not with the team, like Luzardo to go, that's trouble for me. So look, I would not be shocked, and we'll get into it later, but I would not be shocked to see Italy have a shot to beat Venezuela on Monday night. Could happen.
I'll tell you, just sensational, and a lot of these guys really stepping up. But the one thing, Craig, we're going to talk about in hour number 2, obviously going over some Major League Baseball stuff, like just how good is Shohei Ohtani on the world's biggest stage when you need him, just playing day-to-day. He's always there. Like, the tournament, again, ends up for Japan where they didn't advance because they lost to Venezuela 8-5. But you look at the tournament itself for Ohtani. Craig, he hit 462 out of the leadoff spot, like just like extrapolating what he's going to do again this year in Major League Baseball. But when it seems like you are carrying your country, you're the brightest light here on the biggest stage, he's just an unbelievable performer and seems like he delivers all the time.
Yeah, look, he's the best player, and if you consider the fact that he's a pitcher and a hitter, he's the best individual player that I've ever seen play with the things that he does. I mean, that's just it. Like, look, I mean, how can you put him ahead of Barry Bonds and some of the other players? Look, I was, a kid of the 80s watching baseball too, and there were some phenomenal players there. But you're right, Donnie, any time that this guy is asked to come through in a big moment, he does, whether it's the World Series or when he was chasing down in that ballpark in Miami 50-50. Like, he always seems to find the big moment. He did again. But Japan, unfortunately for them, a couple of really big hits for Venezuela that sent them home. Otherwise, Japan could be playing in the championship.
Yeah, you know what I was surprised at too, Craig? You take a look at some of these games, the way they play out, which again, there's not going to be any give up because you lose, you're going home, and there's a lot of national pride. I'm going to tell you, 5-2 game heading into the 5th, like, yep, Japan's going to advance here, and boy, what a final that's going to be for the world stage, which would be Japan versus the winner, maybe like just say like the Dominican Republic or the U.S. if they just kept advancing at this point. But also, Maikel Garcia, 2 for 5 in that game, 421 he hit for this tournament. And shout out to my guy, Eugenio Suarez out here, in the cleanup spot, hitting 167, and still the team's advancing. But Venezuela moves on, a lot of national pride at this point, and some of those younger guys stepping up in the spotlight. But I just thought like Japan would keep moving on. If you would have told me, Craig, before the tournament started, all right, Ohtani's not going to pitch, but he's going to hit almost 500, you're like, yeah, they're going to advance, and they're probably going to win this thing again. And also talking about the last WBC, one of the biggest moments you're going to find, like, wait a second, I'm going to get Ohtani going up against Trout, and basically going to decide who's going to win the championship. I mean, it doesn't get any brighter than that. We're almost hoping for a spot where it's like, okay, Ohtani's going to pitch, and he's going to wind up in the final. And boy, those ratings worldwide would have been absolutely ballistic.
I still think no matter what, Tuesday night is going to be very well received. I do. But you're right. Worldwide, obviously very different. I don't know that folks in Japan are going to be locked in to see the championship now. But look, Japan, Donnie, always comes to play in this thing. And even though they didn't get to the semis, and then even though they didn't get to the finals, Abreu's hit last night that put Venezuela over the top. I mean, look, that's just going to happen. One bad pitch. That's the difference between winning and losing. We see it in a World Series, 7-game series. We're seeing it in the World Baseball Classic now. I don't have any doubt that Ohtani will be back. I would guess for one more World Baseball Classic in 4 years. I mean, 4 years, Donnie. I mean, it's going to come quick, but in baseball years, the guys are going to be a lot older at that point. So I think I would say that there's no guarantees that anybody that you see now plays in 4 years again, but I think Ohtani's got one more in him.
Certainly not. You had the quarterfinals going on Saturday. Once again, Puerto Rico lost to Italy 8-6, and then Japan took the loss to Venezuela 8-5 after being up 5-2. Let me ask you this quick question too, Craig, because a lot of things come up where we're enjoying the moments. It's how can we make this better? Is it better to have the WBC in the summer months instead of the All-Star break, Craig? Or do you just like where it fits in at this point right now? Because I hear it from both ends, and boy, to take 2.5 weeks, but to be honest, I wouldn't mind it. My worst week of the year, Craig, is when the Major League Baseball goes on the All-Star break because I miss baseball so much. I just want it day to day. I wouldn't mind the WBC in the middle of the summer to sort of take over for the All-Star break.
Yeah, it's tough. It's the 1 week of the year where the majority of the guys get off and they get a break. I mean, baseball's 162 games. I understand those questions. To your point, would it be better and more competitive? Probably so. But again, you're coming down to Major League Baseball collective bargaining. And a lot of money involved there where pitchers, again, are asked to pitch when they're getting a break and day off. I mean, I guess you could say, hey, if you want to get rid of the All-Star game, Donnie, and do that, maybe that's the way to go. But, I mean, isn't the All-Star game in Philly this year, Donnie? You're going to hate that.
Look at that, man. Come on, man. Let Skeens go 9 innings in Philadelphia. And by the way, if they did have the WBC in the summer, hey, Skeens has an extra 23 innings on his arm. They ain't going to like that in Pittsburgh, people. We'll be right back. We talked so much about Sunday night's game, the Dominican Republic versus Team USA. Monday night, the opposite side of the semis here. And you know that's going to be, it's Venezuela and Italy, Craig. But before we get to the game itself, how they got there once again. Team Italy, perfect 4-0 in pool play. Beat Brazil 8-0. Great Britain 7-4. Stunning victory over Team USA 8-6. And then hammered Mexico 9-1 before then coming up with a nice victory there over Puerto Rico to find themselves there, Craig. I can't say it enough. So impressive in Italy. Ride that storm right into the semis here, Craig.
Yeah, and this is the surprise of the World Baseball Classic, and it does feel like the Cinderella of the NCAA tournament, which we'll get coming up, of course, next week. Someone will, a week from now, we'll be talking about the Sweet 16. Can't wait for the NCAA tournament to begin. As I talked about earlier in the show, really good managing. And I really thought just taking the most of their opportunities have Team Italy. And they're one of those teams where the narrative now would be, well, who's left for them? Who's left to pitch? Who's left to... I mean, it really shouldn't that have not been the case from the very beginning? Who was there to pitch? Aaron Nola from the beginning? Not a lot. So, yeah, I mean, they're a live dog, I think, even going into Monday night. Look, on paper, Venezuela, much better than Italy. I don't think there's any question about that. But Italy just took out Puerto Rico, man. Like that's a very good team right now. So don't think Italy's going to win it all. I think that I would probably be able to throw out right now and say, I don't think they're going to win the championship, but I would expect the unexpected Monday night. We're getting three great nights of baseball coming: Sunday night, Monday night, and then the Tuesday championship night. It should be awesome.
Again, the Paisans beat the Americans here. They beat Mexico. They beat Puerto Rico. They're not saying, oh, no, we can't beat another team here like Venezuela. We'll get to the odds in just a few moments, but how Venezuela got there, Craig, we talked about in pool play, 3-1 overall. Beat the Netherlands, Israel, Nicaragua before going down to the Dominican, 7-5 here. And then maybe the upset of the upsets so far here again, Japan getting knocked off by Venezuela. Fantastic stuff. Great comeback here. And they find themselves taking on Italy. And as you pointed out, Craig, we talked about Sunday night baseball with Team USA and the Dominican Republic. Slight favorites for Team USA. 176-170, depending where you're shopping. And you see the graphic at 172, where Venezuela is the favorite in a total, Craig, listed at 9.5 runs. So more runs expected as well.
Yeah, because the pitching will not be nearly as good, and Italy has shown that they can hit. And I think Italy's team total will be a good place to live here, because I do think that they're going to score some runs as well. But look, Venezuela on paper is, going to be expected to win. The guy who has come through for them, at least in one of the games, and you would expect in big spots here, he loves playing in South Florida, played for the Marlins too, as Luis Arias does seem to come through in these big moments for them as well, bats at the top of their lineup. And then naturally they have Ronald Acuna Jr. So Jackson Chourio, top to bottom, 1 through 9, there are no easy outs there, so a much different lineup than Italy. But as we've illustrated throughout the show, Italy has not been afraid of anyone. They have showed up. They have beaten everybody that's been put in front of them. And so I would almost guarantee, and again, I don't know who's going to win the game, but I would almost guarantee a close game on Monday night. I do think that this is going to go right down to the end.
Yeah, WBC so far, big-time success. I don't know if maybe for the television rights, it's like, boy, it would have been nice to have Japan in there with Shohei Ohtani, and that would have really blown the lid off it. But no complaints here what's taking on in Miami. Great baseball game anticipated Sunday night. Great baseball game on Monday night. Then the championship, Craig, which is going to be on Tuesday night. So if we sort of re-rack the odds before the semifinal plays out, it is the United States here at a plus 140 price, Craig, currently as the favorite, followed by the Dominican at a plus 160 price, and then Venezuela plus 360, and then there's the Italians at a plus 750 price. So looking at these price points once again, a second chance to jump in on the U.S., or once again, is it Dominican and Venezuela probably as that tag team to sort of take down the U.S.?
Yeah, I'll root for Team USA because that's obviously who I want to win. But I think that the Dominican Republic is going to win this. Just from seeing how awesome they have looked, and I think look, Luis Severino, Donnie, he is not the pitcher that Paul Skeens is, but what is going to be going through these guys' minds and their hearts going into this game? Like, is Severino going to pitch he may pitch as good as Skeens? Who knows? This is the opportunity of a lifetime for this guy. This is his game 7 of the World Series. So don't just start discounting the talent of the pitching when they could come through in the very biggest moments. So I hope Team USA wins. I think the winner of tonight's game wins the championship.
I mean, you're so right about this, too. And again, it's a one-game set here. How many times in Major League Baseball in the regular season, this pitcher's a tomato can. He's going up against the Dodgers. Wait, he went 5 2/3 innings pitched and didn't even give up a base hit against the Dodgers? You get one of those type performances. And from look, Severino's no tomato can. Guy's a legitimate Major League Baseball pitcher. And we've seen the U.S. struggle at the plate. WBC coming down to the wire. Stick right here with us on the Sports Grid Network. It's Pro Baseball Today.